For the longest time, I did everything by the book. I listened to what the so-called experts said. I followed the rules. Save money, invest in mutual funds, stick to index funds, ride the market, and wait. Wait for 20, 30, maybe even 40 years for that comfortable retirement. But deep down, something never sat right with me. I kept asking myself, is this really it? Work hard, save a portion, throw it into a fund I barely understand, and just hope it grows? At first, I thought maybe I was just being impatient. Maybe I just needed more discipline. But I wasn't lacking discipline. I've always been disciplined. That wasn't the problem. The problem was dependency. Dependency on systems I couldn't control. Markets I didn't influence. Advice from people who had no real stake in my outcome. That's when the shift started. I realized that the real game, the one that separates the financially free from the financially stuck, is played on a completely different field. It's not about how much you save. It's about how much you understand. It's not about following rules. It's about learning how to play. So I went all in on education, but not the kind they teach in school. I started reading about money differently. I stopped looking at it as something you chase and started seeing it as a tool for freedom. At this point, I stopped looking for safe investments. I started looking for smart ones. But here's where most people go wrong. They think smart investing is about finding the next hot stock. Smart investing starts with knowing yourself. What are your strengths? What do you understand better than most? What risks can you handle that others can't? For me, it was business. It was cash flow. I realized I could either wait for a 7% return on an index fund or build something that could give me 30, 40, even 100% return year after year. I started investing in myself. Courses, mentors, late nights with books that most people would find boring. I immersed myself in the psychology of wealth. And more than anything else, I learned to detach emotionally. See, conventional investing teaches you to fear the market, fear losses, fear volatility. But the financially free, they embrace risk intelligently. They understand that emotion is the enemy of wealth. You cannot get rich if you panic every time things shake. Once I stopped fearing loss, I could see clearly. I stopped diversifying out of fear and started concentrating with confidence. I put time and money into businesses that aligned with my strengths. I built systems, not just savings. And let me be clear, this didn't happen overnight. There were losses. There were days I questioned myself. But every single mistake was a lesson. Every failure was data. Because the people who win, long-term, are not the ones who avoid mistakes. They're the ones who learn faster. There was a moment, I remember it clearly, when I saw my monthly income surpass what I used to make in a whole year at my job. And the craziest part? It wasn't from a stock tip. It wasn't from a retirement fund. It was from value I created, solutions I brought to the table. That's when it hit me. The conventional path keeps you dependent. Dependent on the market, on employers, on a retirement plan you can't even control. But real freedom, that comes from understanding money at a deep level, from taking ownership, from not outsourcing your financial future to a fund manager who doesn't even know your name. I stopped chasing passive income and started creating predictable income. Income I could influence. Income I could scale. That's the difference. That's the real shift. When you break free from the conventional, you stop asking, what's the safest way to invest my money? And you start asking, how can I make my money reflect my strengths? And when your investments are built on who you are, instead of just where the crowd is going, that's when everything changes. So what did I learn? I learned that success isn't found in following the herd. It's in understanding the game deeply enough to make your own rules. I learned that discipline isn't just about saving. It's about saying no to easy comfort, so you can say yes to long-term power. I learned that hard work is just the beginning. Smart work is where the leverage is. I learned that real wealth isn't just a number. It's the ability to wake up and know you're not trapped, that you're not waiting on anyone, that you are in control. And most importantly, I learned that your financial breakthrough won't come from playing safe. It will come from getting clear. Clear on your values, clear on your strengths, clear on your mission. Because once you're clear, you become dangerous. You become focused. You become free. Let them chase tips. Let them wait for the perfect stock. Let them follow the outdated rules. You build, you create, you execute. You play the game with your eyes wide open. And that's how you win.